Do we have bid war?
We're running a commercial first.
Okay.
And then
Morris one.
Morris one. Okay.
everything that was donator's choice, I put towards Morris. So
Okay.
so it all went to Morris. So Morris won.
Fair enough.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. Some
Don't
dude.
worry about him.
He's not a bear in a man costume, that's for sure.
He is not.
Actually, is it F-Zero games coming pretty soon after this game?
I think it's Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, then the F-Zero games.
Yeah, we want very hard for F-Zero GX.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Sega.
You guys on mic?
You can just yell into my. Oh, you have one. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if I should.
Are we done with commercials?
Okay, before we do this, I have a $5,500 donation, so
Oh,
I'd like
wow.
to read that off real quick from
Wow.
the Yeti. Hey all, the Yeti here. We are close to beating our AGDQ 2013 total raised, and we aren't even close to being done yet. I am floored by the support the speedrunning community has for this event. I remember our first AGDQ watching the blindfolded punch out and loving it, so with this donation, can we make sure that happens again? Top up the required amount for that and put the rest towards saving those darn animals. For those of you who don't know about the Yeti, we have a bunch of t-shirts that we do with theyeti.com. It's Y-E-T-E-E, not Y-E-T-I. And they do a lot of cool t-shirts, and some of the funds go towards, you can go ahead and check out their website and see what's going on.
And the
with
exact
that-
link is theyeti.com/SDA.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And the blindfolded donations led.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Okay. We ready? Alrighty. All right, so my name's Klaige. I've been running Castlevania Bloodlines for about 3 years, and time will start when the music starts, so 3, 2, 1, time. So, Bloodlines is a classic-style Castlevania. It's the only one on the Genesis. It has one major caveat for speedrunning. Unlike older Castlevanias, instead of having 2 whip upgrades, it has a third one, and there's only 2 ways to get it. You can get a hidden vital item that's here in the first stage. It has a 50-50 chance to drop it. It's not manipulable. It either drops or it doesn't. And the only other way to get the item is to break 30 candles while having the second best whip that don't contain sub-weapons. I know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, right there, I did not get the upgrade, so I will have to break candles to get it to come out later. The upgrade does 2 things. It powers up your main weapon for extra damage, and then it also gives you access to a super sub-weapon, which has a lot of utility and does a lot of damage. The caveat is both these things, if you take any damage at all in any form, they are gone instantly, and you will have to recollect the candles to get them back. So the difficulty in this run is that if you take a hit anywhere that isn't intentional for damage boost purposes or other things, you're losing time. This is the first sub-boss. I hope you guys like bosses and sub-bosses because this game is loaded with them. In total, with every boss and sub-boss fight, there are 22 boss fights in this game across 6 stages.
Wow.
Yeah, something about Konami and Genesis, they just
Yeah.
really liked bosses.
Yeah, Contra Hardcore, Rocket Knight Adventures.
And as you can see, you can jump freely on and off of stairs in this game, so it's actually quite fast to use that way to go through. This is a slower strat than I would normally use because I would normally have the super sub weapon here if I was doing world record attempts. There's no quick way to go through bone pillars in this game without the super sub weapons. So coming up here is a good skip. Normally I have to go all the way over and take the stairs, but we're just going to skip it around. And the skeleton is not going to play nice.
Wow.
This is the difficulty with expert mode. Everything does a ton of damage. This is the upgrade I'm talking about. I've broken enough candles, so now I have it. The whip swing maneuver there where you attach to a ledge, you're completely invulnerable for the duration of it, and it also is faster than walking if you're able to extend and use it. Morris, the character that won the bid war, is slower but more powerful, but he's actually faster jumping than he is walking. So I'm going to show you the super sub weapon. Get rid of this bone dragon. And unfortunately, with the bad RNG I'm getting in stage 1, if the stage 1 boss, which is the most random one in the game, decides to kill me, that's a real possibility.
Yeah, for some reason, like one of the hardest bosses in the run is the very first stage. None of the others are quite like this.
Stand still. Yeah. Oh. So there you see I lost the upgrade.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stage 1 is the most random in this whole game, so that had much more to do with RNG than anything else. When I run this game, I will regularly reset stage 1 dozens and dozens of times before getting a run going.
Yeah, it's real harsh.
Now the RNG will tone down a little bit, but there's still plenty of ways to die in expert mode. The only thing that changes in expert mode compared to the regular mode is that enemies do more damage. They don't take more damage to kill. And then there's also extra enemies like ghosts and bats and flying pests in areas where they wouldn't normally appear.
Hey, don't forget Meat Buffet.
And Meat Buffet is not present in expert mode. If you'd like to learn more about Meat Buffet, check out some archives of Bloodlines on my stream sometime.
So one little detail you might have noticed about this game that's different from the other traditional Castlevanias is that it doesn't count down your sub-weapon ammo at the end of the stage. So not only do you not have to manage it for the purpose of preventing it from doing the countdown and wasting time, but it also means you can just build up as much of it as you want.
I'm also not quite sure why they chose crystals in this game for sub-weapon ammo instead of hearts.
Yeah, it's
Because it's not Nintendo, that's
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be edgy. So like a prime example of an expert change, in normal mode, these ghosts don't exist. They're just a minor annoyance that shows up in the auto scroller in expert mode instead. Hey, look, a 1-up. Hey, it's gone. Yeah, the soundtrack to this game is extremely underrated. A lot of remixed songs for the Game Boy Advance games and the DS games come from this game.
Yeah. This is like half the soundtrack of Circle the Moon, anywhere you go in the castle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a detour
Only
here
half?
and break these candles when I normally
Yeah, like
wouldn't, since
more
I'm trying to get the
three-quarters,
sub-weapon back.
yeah. You didn't
So this boss is pretty special.
Yeah.
The water mage normally will teleport away from you when you hit him, but if you look away from him, he doesn't know what to do. And you have a hitbox on the backside of your whip.
Also,
so, yeah.
Rip Water
Yeah.
Mage, you were a saint.
So next, there's going to be 2 sub-bosses. I hope you like seeing one, because he's gone. And now I have the upgrade back.
He knows better.
Kill that one off screen. So there's 3 sub-bosses gone without much fanfare.
One of which made it on screen.
I've got a $350 donation here from Figgy that says, after all your bad RNG with the flights, it's good to see you actually made it, Klaige. Let's see a world record.
Thanks, Figgy. Figgy's one of my fellow fighting game players from Iowa, so shout-outs to him. So, as you'll see, this stage has a lot of auto-scrolling. Stage 3 has a lot of auto-scrolling, and then there's no more. It's literally done after Stage 3. They apparently got obsessed with it for the first half of the game, and then decided to just make the game really hard. So if I was doing this with Lacard, I would actually be taking damage from the first Medusa in this section to set up some damage boosts. With Morris and his super sub-weapon, it's actually more optimal to just take some risky strats to go through this next long section coming up. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
That was leading up
That
to
was
Water
fast.
Mage.
Yeah.
I have to wait now because of when I got this back. The other way to recollect the super sub-weapon is to collect the same sub-weapon you already have while holding the powered-up spear. I'm gonna wait for a second, make sure Bone Dragon doesn't troll us.
Blast processing.
Real strong. Well, if you think this blast processing is strong, you should see Lacard's super sub-weapon.
It is
Absolutely fantastic.
the lag generator to end all lag generators.
Yeah, the Tassers believe that the way that Lacard's super sub-weapon works is that it shoots a whole bunch of projectiles and then does collision detection with each of those projectiles for everything else on screen.
So this boss usually takes a long time if you fight him legit. I'm going to whittle him down by abusing super sub weapon here to make this fight go a lot quicker. If you jump in the water too early, you'll take damage. It doesn't have to be completely covering you, but much more than that, and you will take damage off it.
Yeah, and this is the only boss in the game, I think, that Morris actually is slower than Lacard. Right?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. Because the basketball is just destroyed before the water's even.
This boss does do a cool Terminator impression, though. If I had the theme, we'd play it, but oh well. That was a decent fight. I missed one whip swing, could have killed him a little bit quicker, but that's about as optimal as you can do it. There's a riskier Taz strat you can take that attempts to hit him in the head with the super sub weapon to trigger his animation where he shakes his hand. But it also causes him to do his rock smash attack earlier. And speaking of things I hate,
Oh, right off the bat.
so these enemies are the most random enemies in the game. Harpies can go wherever they want and get away from you. I've gotten pretty good at semi-manipulating them. But the big thing they do is that when you give them enough damage to kill them, they can randomly not die. They can just have their head pop off like that one did. And the bleed animation that happens is the laggiest thing I've ever seen for a few red pixels.
Yeah. He was really lucky that it stayed close enough to just hit it again and
And
finish it off.
the other thing about it is that anything can cause this. If you get the mirror item, which is this game's equivalent of the crucifix, which kills everything on screen instantly, the harpies can still get decapitated and bleed out. I once had a practice run where I grabbed a mirror and 3 of them started bleeding out after it, and I could not move because there was too much lag. Bloodlines is a good game. So there was another sub-boss fight. That was a bone dragon. Just a plain old-fashioned CV1 style bone dragon that they felt the need to give sub-boss music to. Yeah, it was his place, man. I just walked in and took it. I'm not very nice. So, this is Blast Processing's version of Cheat Mode 7. This room can be really buggy. It's really easy if you jump by the edge of one of these platforms to land and then have the edge detection just completely give out and you fall to your death. So I make a point to try to hit the middle of platforms to save myself headaches.
Also, none of the items can land on any of these platforms.
Yeah,
they just fall straight.
They are hollow except for your character. Everything else goes through them as if they don't exist. I'm going to swing around here to despawn one of these mummies up top. Got a little bit of bad RNG with the bandage there, but there's nothing you can do about that. That's a completely random effect. And then we're going to go through our last bit of auto-scrolling here. And by last bit, I mean like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
I've got a $200 donation here from Joe Diamillo. Castlevania Hype, though Koreshi and Funk Doc originally got me into speedrunning, I want to thank everyone at the GDQs for the inspiration. Shout out to the Castlevania 4 crew. Shout out to Hanage Belmondo.
Hanage.
Thanks, guys. And the Castlevania IRC. Good luck, Klaige, Sex, and Mecha Richter on all your runs. Also, $50 from Byron T. 50 bison bucks for Klaige and Murph. Shout out to Drunken JoJo's Rants and Horses on Ferris Wheels.
Oh, man.
Klaige and Murph. Klaige and Murph will know what I'm talking about.
What was the name on that again?
It was Byron T.
Huh.
Oh, Brian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
JoJo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
JoJo's
that was-
rants. Those
Oh,
are
you're right, it
probably
is.
not applicable for a charity. So.
It was Byron.
We'll just continue talking about how boring this auto-scroller is.
Yeah.
Actually, Joe DeMillo is the world record holder for Castlevania 4.
Yes.
You guys should check him out.
He just took that
crushed
record
that
and
time.
Yeah.
destroyed
Yeah.
it.
What's his URL? Twitch.tv/. Just Joe
Just his
DeMillo?
name, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. With 2 L's.
So I'm going to grab the axe here for this boss coming up. You'll notice I switch sub-weapons a lot in this game. The axe has a lot of utility and does really good damage. The boomerang has a little bit of utility in some situations. Holy water is the worst thing ever created. I don't know what they were thinking.
They had to balance out all the times it's
Yeah,
been
it was so
completely
overpowered.
overpowered.
So this boss is completely set. I can manipulate this last part by going over to the right part of the platform here. Almost. That's almost a flawless fight.
So angry.
Yeah, one missed was nothing.
And then he gets really upset.
Yeah, he's
Like, he's
so
not
angry all
happy
the
that he has
time.
to fall down the entire Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, which is why he lags out the game.
Yeah.
And if you've noticed, you're not just going through the typical Castlevania areas. This game actually takes place all over of Europe. If you want to know more about the story of this game, here's all you need to know about the canon story of Castlevania Bloodlines. It actually melds the Bram Stoker Dracula novel into its canon. John Morris is the descendant of the Quincy Morris character from the Bram Stoker novel. And with that, we'll just stop talking about the story because lol Castlevania stories.
Lol video game stories.
So I'm going to take damage here on purpose to set up a damage boost later. This stage is the most techy and difficult stage in the game for speedrunning. When I was first running this game, I dubbed it the Widowmaker, and it's held up to that for quite some time.
Yeah, there's a couple tricks in this stage. One's coming up pretty soon. And it's when you throw a sub-weapon, you gain a little bit of height, maybe a couple pixels, when you're jumping upward. So it just pushes you a little further up. And he's gonna abuse that to just go straight through a wall, and just it zips you upward, and here it's gonna be right here. And that skips that whole crushing section.
It also confuses the graphics a little bit
Yeah.
there, which is pretty cool.
This climb is one of the most difficult parts for Morris.
Yeah.
Lacard has a super jump mechanic where he pole vaults with his spear. So he literally skips this entire section with ease. Morris has to climb it old-fashioned Castlevania clock tower style.
Yeah.
Well, with these, other than the skeletons deciding
Yeah,
they just want to
there's a lot more luck with Lacard going up here fast too. But
That's flawless climb.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that was pretty good. That room can also get really laggy if Medusa
Yes.
heads decide to spawn a lot, so you got really lucky
The backgrounds move and can really mess up the AI.
Got $100 here from Grand Felasian. Not sure. Any night is a horrible night to have the curse of cancer. Here's something to help the morning sun vanquish that particular night.
This is the most
Yeah.
dangerous skip in the
this
game.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I got that back early. That's
Yeah.
fine. We're just gonna safety this now.
Okay.
Usually what I would do here is, I got the sub-weapon back too early, I messed up my candle count. What I would do is not get it back till this next section, and I would have left one of those enemies alive to damage boost me through this last blade. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to take it safe now. But the idea in this room is, the hitboxes on these blades are the laziest programming in Konami history. Each blade has 4 pixels, 4 dots on each side, evenly spaced out. If they hit you, they do about 17 points of damage. This section is also really terrifying for a speed
Yeah.
run.
Yeah, so you can just walk anywhere in the blades outside of those pixels and
Yep.
you're good.
So normally I would have damage boosted through. That's why I lost the whip early, was to set that up. Unfortunately, I hit an extra candle somewhere, probably with an axe going through the climb.
So he can damage boost.
Damage
the
boost.
last blade
Because when I take
rotates
damage, I would have
differently,
lost
so he
the
can't do
sub-weapon
that
again,
very
and I
well.
needed to kill this boss in any kind of decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the gear boss has a ton of health. As a lot of my stream viewers know, he also has an amazing dance animation if you kill him, or if he kills you. We're hopefully not going to see that today.
And for those of you who are enjoying this run, you should go follow Klaige. He doesn't have nearly enough
That was
people following
pretty
him.
much a flawless fight.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's
Agreed.
good.
That boss has the second most HP in the entire game.
So that was the hardest stage in the run, probably.
that's easily
but
the-
Stage 5 has some stuff that can get
Yeah,
pretty scary.
Stage
too.
5
He's
gets very
definitely
scary.
not in the clear.
Yeah.
Stage 5 is actually, it's difficult for both characters. The latter half is more difficult for Morris than it is for Lacard and vice versa. So.
Yeah, one thing that we actually haven't mentioned is that both characters have separate paths in some
Yes.
of the stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game has some branching paths, though the game was obviously designed around Morris as a classic whip-using character. These pollen things that just hit me, they don't do damage. All they do is reverse left and right on my controller, and they last for a fixed time, so I just alter which way I'm going.
And vine monkeys, they're pretty terrifying too.
Yep. Morris has a much easier time because I'm just going to say I have a super
Yeah.
sub weapon, leave me alone.
Yeah, with a card, you actually have to do a really tricky jump over them. And it's kind of infuriating.
It's a little bit laggy, but it's totally worth the safety that's there. I even do that in my world record runs. It's simply not worth it. Here's another fun part of this game. Environmental hazards, one-shot enemies. So I'm going to use these chandeliers to really speed up things in this section. Because as you can see, those take a lot of damage from the powered-up whip. They're pretty heavy.
I just like how this entire room, all of the chandeliers are rigged to fall.
I think PJ did the carpentry in this room. So up next is another cool skip. This is a giant bone tower. We don't like these. So we're just not going to deal with it.
See ya.
Yeah, so this is another split path where
Yep.
a card would go up and deal with Fleamen at the top, because those are always fun. And
Fleamen dropped by harpies.
Yes.
yeah,
So even better.
and then Morris gets this section.
Yeah, we get our Indiana Jones on and walk through this room. That's always consistent. There's almost nothing that can harm you in there. And then we have to climb up a kind of an auto scroller, but not really.
And this mid-boss coming up can be pretty terrifying.
This mid boss has
Yeah.
ended a lot of good runs due to a very stupid glitch.
Yeah, so there's a glitch. If you kill the mid-boss during his attack animation changes to cover the entire screen and hit you twice, I believe.
At least once it can hit Lacard twice.
Twice, yeah. So he pretty much just kills you, because in a normal run, you maybe,
So yeah, if you kill him while he's doing that punch, the entire room becomes an unblockable hitbox.
Yeah.
Because again, this is a good game.
Yeah. Another fun fact about that boss is that if you do the axe charge against that boss, he just doesn't spawn and you can't progress.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's-
soft lock the game if you,
Yep.
you use that.
Yeah, you use the same skip you use on the stage 2 mini boss, but yeah, there's nowhere to leave, so it just soft locks the game. So this is an old illusion, the 2 men and a pillar. This boss takes static damage. Every single attack in the game will do 2 damage to it, regardless of what it is. I need to try and 3 cycle it. I missed 4 hits there, so I need to get 4 hits at least once. All right, we'll just do it the last one. Or not. That was the super sub weapon trolling me really bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually have a set interval on when it hits, so sometimes if it just decides to troll me, it will override the, basically sub weapons override whips in this game. So the sub weapon was basically hitting the boss during its invulnerability state and prevented me from getting a 3 cycle there. I haven't had that happen in a long time. That's some good old fashioned, this has never happened before in a marathon. This next boss coming up, I've adjusted my strats quite a bit and can kill her really fast if I'm on point. First, we have to make her transform. Surprise, she's not a princess.
Surprise moth.
Oh.
That's all right.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a hit either here
Yeah,
or
you
the
have
next
to take a
stage
hit in
anyway.
the next stage
That's
anyway.
still a pretty quick
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
So even though we've played all but one stage of the game, the last one's like a third of the run or something.
It's over 10 minutes.
Because they really, really like bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
you
doesn't beat
thought
Metal Slug 3.
Yeah.
We're going to refight 3 of the bosses from earlier in the game, fight a boss with 2 different forms, and then fight a boss with 3 forms, because Genesis Konami games.
They didn't feel like we had enough boss, so we needed more
Yeah.
boss.
Always more boss. So,
Oh,
just
these
to
rooms
be
are horrible.
just to be mean, Konami likes to do this to you at the end of a game.
PJ, get out of the room.
Yeah, this is not a display glitch. It's just how it's designed.
Yeah.
All right, scary jump coming up here.
person.
And then they decided after this room, you know, that just wasn't enough, but we can do more with the Genesis.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, why would we let you play this when we could just make you play upside down instead? So here's the funny part. Right and left are not reversed, but up and down are.
Oh.
This is terrifying, by the way.
That,
if you
yeah,
didn't guess.
that was a good recovery on the whoop.
No, that's actually how you have to
Oh,
do it. You
okay.
have
Yeah,
to
you
stutter
have to
with
slow
more,
down,
so
though.
you'll
Oh,
run
okay.
into it.
Yep.
So now what I'm going to do is pick up candles to get the super sub weapon and the super whip back for the final boss rush here.
Yep.
That annoying random boss from stage 1, he's back.
Yep.
But now his only real trick is trying to scare you and causing a little bit of lag every time you kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, it just blows up instantly now.
I've got a
I'm coming.
$150 donation
gonna
here
wait.
from Magical Donut. So happy to see someone running a Genesis game live. Reminds me of my Shining Force days. Thanks for this event.
That was basically a big safety play.
You guys fight
I didn't
for
want to take
good
a hit
cause.
right after picking up the super sub.
All right, hope you like bosses.
Hope you like
We're about to
bosses.
fight all the bosses.
So first, Death really wants to play cards with you.
Yeah.
Like, really wants to play cards with you.
Yeah, but Morris doesn't enjoy cards, so
No.
he just starts attacking them.
So first we're going to refight the gear boss. I can actually get a quick kill on him now. The nice thing about the refights, all the bosses now take double damage. Got it.
Nice.
Now we'll refight the bat gargoyle. And again, double damage is really handy because now instead of like having to wait for him to pass twice, we just do this and then make him go away.
Yeah, he's...
This is maybe the only design choice about the boss rush that I can appreciate is that they didn't make you kill them all the way, just halfway. So again, we'll manipulate this last part by going to the right. Is anything ActRaiser 2?
Let's hope not.
So you also see that Death is a terrible shot.
Nice try, buddy.
He's got two
Go
more.
home, Death.
He might get it. It's okay. Not quite. Okay, this is the hardest fight of the refights. I refight the stone golem, except now there's no water and he's just going to come straight at me. And I have to whittle him down manually. And now you'll actually get to see his rock smash attack,
Yeah.
which is completely random.
If you want to play completely safe, the left side of the screen,
Yeah.
the very
Which I
edge
will do
is-
because it costs
yeah.
way too much time to lose. This is
Yeah.
a terrible pattern.
Yeah, so that's the only safe spot in this fight.
Wow.
Wow, he is angry.
Yeah,
This is the worst
it's bad
pattern I've
RNG.
seen in a very long time.
But then his head itself, only a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
only a couple hits.
Morris hits like a truck.
This, if I was doing a world record attempt, I probably would be a little bit more aggressive and take my lumps. But for the sake of not making the boss rush drag on for hours
Yeah.
on end,
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. Is if I were to get hit anywhere in this boss rush and lose the powered up whip, it's going to cost well over a minute plus just in this level.
Yeah.
So Death, in addition to being a guy who wants to play cards, doesn't have a lot of health.
Yeah, I mean, he spends all his time playing cards. You can't really expect him to beat you.
Bye.
Yeah. The amount of damage Morris does, it's actually funny. The tasks of these games for both characters, well, Card gets ahead by like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes up to this stage, and then Morris makes up all of that on boss
Yes.
fights.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
ends up
there's-
being like 10 to 15 seconds ahead.
If
Yeah.
there's actually like a graph for the Tazes of this game, and it's just called How Far Ahead is Spear Guy? So Medusa has the most health in the game. So for once, Medusa is not just a complete pushover.
That said,
She also wants to bad touch you really badly. Bad touch.
Yeah,
Bad
that said,
touch.
Medusa is
Bad
still
touch. No, go away. Nobody likes you.
still a pushover.
Okay,
so
now-
speaking of things nobody likes,
If we have donations, this is the best time ever because
Yeah.
I hope you guys like the most uninspired boss fight in history.
Oh, I have donations.
So, just real quick to sum
Bring
this
'em
up,
on.
she's going to go back and forth. The only hit that will damage her is the one that breaks the last magical orb on screen. There is no way to speed this up.
This is the boss fight.
yup.
All right,
So
let's go.
donations,
All
go
right,
for it.
Lady N donated $50. My mother and my mother-in-law are both survivors of breast cancer. I'm hoping for a future where no one has to go through the fear and worry of another cancer diagnosis. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We've got $10 from PJ Tinyface, which I don't think that's talking about you, PJ. Sorry. Love these Castlevania games. They remind me of my first dates with my girlfriend. Speaking of which, Julie, will you marry me? Just kidding. Kill the animals.
Well played. Well played.
Anonymous donation of $20. Hey Travis, remember that time a deer jumped in front of your car on the way to Columbia? Good times. I hope Castlevania treats you a bit better. Cheers from everyone in Cali. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Klaige's name is Travis.
Thank you, Monique.
$25 from Dale Mark. As a big Castlevania fan and as a Genesis kid growing up, this game holds a special place in my heart. A special,
It's
painful
over.
place.
Finally.
Oh, but we have to watch her die. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we wait for the lightest cloth known to man.
Yes. Also, we ran out of songs, so we're just going to take the best one from Castlevania 4 and remix it. And by remix it, I mean make it sound as good as we can with Genesis hardware. Which, in all honesty, pretty damn good for Genesis hardware. So now, as you can guess, we go fight Dracula.
Yep.
3 forms. The first form is surprise. He teleports and throws fireballs at you. I don't know if you've ever
Shocker.
seen this in a game before.
By the way, I hope you weren't too excited about that song because it's over.
So the one fun part about this is unlike most of the typical Dracula fights like this one is scripted. His teleports always go to the same spots. He will go back and forth, and then every so often he will just go to wherever you're standing.
He is actually shooting stuff also.
Yes.
You just can manipulate it. so
Basically
that you
just
jump.
timing it so he'll
Yeah.
either shoot them in a way that won't hit me or the whip will kill them.
And then Dracula decides he's deaf. or
So
deaf,
this is
right?
like Shaft Light.
Yeah, just some random mage is here like, hey, I will fight.
Well, he'll try to fight, pretend.
That's
Yeah,
a perfect fight. He won't
he's-
die until the last fireball leaves the screen, so that's as fast as you can kill him. And then final form, I have a way to one cycle his flame breath attack he has, so I'm going to try that since I have full health to play with anyway.
And this is the same Dracula in the sequel to this game, Portrait of Ruin. So they just reuse everything in that.
Missed the
Yeah.
one cycle because I got hit, but that's fine. That won't cost much time at this point.
Yeah, it's whatever.
So we get 2 cycles here. Knock him into the last phase where he's going to throw all the bones.
I'm going
By
to
the way-
defeat you with lag!
All the bones.
Get ready for
bones
time.
Good night.
Yeah, when he
It'll be
grabs
when
the
he-
orb,
yeah.
it's time.
Yep. And it's going to take a while because blast processing doesn't like to make orbs. I have sub-weapon ammo because it never goes away.
Yeah.
And time.
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 Nice.
31-17.
Nice.
So yeah, that's Bloodlines in a nutshell.
Also, these sprites look nothing like the
yeah,
sprites on the screen.
the one downside to not having Lacard win the bid war is you can't see his sprite's pretty green hair change to the most flowing Fabio blonde of all time. Yeah, for no reason. And much like all old Konami games, beating it on expert mode gets you 1 extra screen and a nice ending message. This is the extra screen. Got to beat it on expert if you want to see this,
Yup.
because there's bats. I mean, we need to get rid of bats, right?
Yep.
And go away. Yes, we're the best.
All right.
And that's it.
That's Bloodlines. Good job, man.
Thank you very
Good
much,
job,
guys.
yeah.
And up next, I believe it's Soten time.
So we still have some donation incentives that have not been met yet that are coming up. There's F-Zero GX. There is a very hard mode, which is getting closer to being met. We're about $2,000 behind. So if you guys start donating now, I think we'll be able to make that by the time we're over to F-Zero GX in a couple of hours. We're also trying to get Deathborn 25-second head start for F-Zero GX, which we are at about 863 out of 2,500. And we're also trying to get Toad's Turnpike in extra mode on Mario Kart 64, which would be after the run. So you guys have essentially this run and the next one to make up for that. We're at 890.